Good morning. The Investor's Guide to Adaptive Reuse in Houston. And adaptive reuse is no longer just a niche strategy. It's becoming a core investment thesis for commercial real estate investors navigating Houston's shifting demand patterns. As office vacancies rise and retail footprints evolve, and older properties struggle to compete, adaptive reuse offers a path to value creation rather than value erosion. And in markets like Houston, where land scarcity in core corridors intersects with strong population growth, adaptive reuse allows investors to reposition underperforming assets into income producing properties that are aligned with modern demand. Well, what is adaptive reuse in commercial real estate? Adaptive reuse involves repurposing an existing structure for a new commercial use rather than demolishing and rebuilding. Some common Houston examples can include office buildings converted into multifamily or mixed use projects, warehouses transformed into creative retail or flex space, churches, schools, or industrial facilities repurposed into medical, office, or residential assets. So, for investors, adaptive reuse often means lower acquisition costs, faster entitlement timelines, and access to locations that would otherwise be cost prohibitive. And why adaptive reuse is gaining traction in Houston. And Houston's commercial landscape is undergoing some structural change. So there's office oversupply in certain submarkets. There's retail consolidation favoring experiential and service oriented tenants. There's industrial and medical demand expanding beyond traditional zones. There's also municipal pressure to revitalize aging corridors. And rather than waiting for rents to recover, investors are repositioning assets to meet today's demand and not yesterday's. So let's look at some key financial advantages for investors. Adaptive reuse can significantly improve deal economics when executed correctly. And the big reason you would consider this is that there's going to be a lower basis compared to ground up construction from the start. And there's also potential historic tax credits or local incentives by the municipality. There's accelerated leasing by delivering differentiated space from the norm. And there's improved exit cap rates due to modernized income streams from the property. And from a financing standpoint, lenders evaluate adaptive reuse projects based on stabilized NOI, their tenant profile, and the execution risk, not simply the original use of the property. Zoning, permits, and feasibility all matter. So Houston's lack of traditional zoning offers flexibility, but it's not a free pass. Investors must still navigate deed restrictions, parking and access requirements, utility capacity and infrastructure, ADA and code compliance. And the most successful adaptive reuse projects start with a rigorous feasibility analysis and not just a conceptual vision. So let's take a look at financing adaptive reuse projects. Capital stacks for adaptive reuse typically blend bridge or construction financing, some value add or transitional debt, so bridge capital. There's also potential for tax credits that build equity. And we would definitely need to look at refinancing into long-term permanent debt upon stabilization of the new property. So working with advisors who understand both commercial real estate and commercial lending is critical to avoid execution risks and capital shortfalls. So here's some risks to watch. Adaptive reuse is not without challenges, and there could be unexpected structural or environmental issues. There could be higher upfront design and engineering costs. And there could be leasing risk if repositioning misses the market demand. And there's always the risk of timeline overruns impacting your carrying costs with the redevelopment. But disciplined underwriting and conservative assumptions separate profitable projects from stalled ones. So here's the bottom line for investors. Adaptive reuse in Houston is not about chasing trends, it's about aligning capital with reality. And as demand shifts and obsolete properties increase, investors who understand how to reposition assets will intelligently outperform those who are waiting for the old models to return to fruition. Now, if you're evaluating an underperforming property or exploring redevelopment opportunities, adaptive reuse deserves a place in your strategy. That's it for the day. Please visit my website, HoustonRealEstateBrokerage.com, to get a hold of me and we can talk more. Have a good day.